Hello and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News channel. We're going to talk about how Sam Bankman-Fried paid his $250 million bond. And I do believe that rumor that someone donated $20 million to his bond was actually fake. No, so Mr. O'Leary did not donate $20 million to Sam Bankman-Fried's bail bond. They just shrank the bail bond to a lot less than $250 million. Now, generally, a bail bondsman would take 10 to 15% of the bail amount in cash to issue a surety bond or a bail bond. 15% of 250 million is still 37.5 million, or about 25 million if you actually take 10%. But obviously, even though they're very wealthy lawyers, SBF's parents obviously do not have $37.5 million. I mean, they might have it using FTX funds, but I don't think they can actually pull those out right now because, they would be owned if they did that as well. So they had to shrink it by quite a lot more than that. They had to shrink it pretty close to zero. So the thing is, another way to do that is actually to pledge collateral in the full amount of the bond. Then if the defendant fails to appear in court, the pledge collateral is forfeit to the court. This is all from CoinDesk, by the way, and they're showing how SBF went home free on a bond, even though his bond was $250 million. So the thing that his parents put up as collateral is their $4 million Palo Alto home. And a home in Palo Alto worth $4 million, that's not that hard to imagine. Homes in Palo Alto are worth a lot of money, as is pretty much any home in that part of SoCal. So the thing is, that was the only collateral that was posted or promised. And the thing is, SBF will actually be staying in Palo Alto, California under house arrest, which means he's there, he can't really leave the house, and the feds are going to be looking after him to make sure he actually appears in court. So basically, he wasn't actually required to post a conventional bail bond. Instead, he was simply released from custody by something called a personalized recognized bond, which is BS, honestly. And what it actually does is that it contains his solemn promise and his parents' promise. So basically, him and his parents had to swear and promise to pay the court $250 million if he fails to show up for a trial at the appointed time. And since they don't have $250 million, he will probably show up for trial at the appointed time. And that's basically what it is. He walked out essentially free. He did not have to pay a $250 million dollar bail bond, but he has to pay the $250 million if he decides to flee to another country with no extradition. But the thing is, since he's under house arrest and the feds are watching him, they're probably not going to let him flee. So he basically had to say, I promise to not flee the country and to show up for trial at the appointed date. It is absolutely absurd. This is basically just how rich people have more privileges than poor people, especially rich people with connections. Because usually you would have to post a 10 or 15% bail bond to actually even get considered to actually be let home. Sam Bankman-Fried, all his parents had to do was put their $4 million house up for collateral. He didn't have to post anything. The $4 million, honestly, is probably not customer money. His parents are high-powered lawyers and high-powered professors at Stanford, so they probably had the money. But the thing is, the fact that he was able to get off on just a $4 million bail bond out of a $250 million bond is ridiculous. They definitely had to change the rules to make a personal recognized bond or whatever, and that would only accept $4 million, and him and his parents promised to actually show up at the appointed time or pay $250 million if he actually fled the country, which he's not going to because the feds are actually watching him. So that's how rich people work, people, and that is absolutely absurd. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you, and have a nice day.